Hey, thank you. Cool. Thank you all for coming. It's beautiful scenery here. Let's see if we can have my slides pop up. Awesome. Cool. So I'm Guillaume Cabane. People call me G. And as Yana just said, I built 4 growth teams, and I'm still building some more. So we talked of Segment, Drift. I'm currently helping Gorgias. Significant growth. And now I'm a growth advisor at a couple of companies, including the largest one is G2. That doesn't really matter. What I want to talk about today is what makes a company succeed, especially what makes, let's say, a B2B SaaS company succeed, which is my core expertise. And I really like this tweet from Justin that says that first-time founders are obsessed with product, right? But second-time founders know better. They're obsessed with distribution. And that couldn't be more true. I too often see founders that think that marketing is a necessary evil, and that the customers will love them for the product will drive everything, the product's going to be fantastic, so it's all what's needed. And so we hear a lot about product-led growth, which is very true for some companies, but might not work for everyone. Distribution is what makes or breaks your company and your success. And so today I'm going to talk about creating a distribution moat. For those who don't know medieval arts, the moat is what is around the castle. So I'm French, so there's a lot of castles and lots of moats. And supposedly the enemies don't attack you because they otherwise would die in the moat. And so my job as head of growth, head of marketing, is to create a defensible moat through great distribution. Which raises the question of what's my job? What's the role of marketing? And when you get there are 2 things that we usually agree on. The first one is that a better budget increases conversion. And that kind of makes sense. If you want more leads, you're going to need to spend more, right? You're going to increase your spend. And the second thing is that if you have more budget, you can create a better experience, all right? So more budget gives you better experience gives you more leads, right? The challenge is that the second one isn't really true, right? And I'm going to show you why. We don't have we don't have more money per user, right? More budget per user, because if we spend that money, we're going to lose. Our P&L is going to go down. Our CAC to LTV is going to go down. Let me show you the issue within the different channels that we have within the different acquisition channels, right? If you look here, if you do SEO, and you look between 2011 and 2014, and the trend is continuing, the real estate space you have available for SEO is what is outside of the red box here. And if you were up there in 2011, you're now down there in 2014 because the top spots are now trusted by paid. And the conclusion of that is that you have about minus 25% click-through rate on page 1 SEO, for desktop, and minus 55% for mobile, which is dramatic, really dramatic, right? And if you look by rank, that was just for the position number 1. If you look by rank, this is 2015 to 2017, you're going to see it drops. It's continuing to drop, right? And almost all of them drop except like for the long tail, where obviously the click-through rates are already very, very small, right? And so that's for SEO, and that's not good. And you might think, well, SEO, I don't do SEO, I do acquisition on Facebook, and Facebook's fantastic. I can tell you one thing, for all the bad thing that Facebook does, there's one thing that they don't do, they don't create more Americans, right? They don't create people. And the challenge is that our inventory, the number of people we can advertise to, is stable, right? And so the inventory of ads, the ability for Facebook to display more ads, is also stable. And so costs are going up because we just, as an industry, are pouring more money into this channel, right? And you can see here the data between in 2017 that the CPCs and the CPMs on Facebook have increased by about 136% just that year. Right? If you want to go back a bit more, I distinctly remember a time when we could acquire mobile app installs on Facebook at around $1 or less. And that is definitely not possible anymore, especially in the US. Right? So if you wrap all the channels together, And our friends from Profitwell have done that for us. They asked 743 companies, and they tracked over 5 years. And the CAC, the overall CAC for both B2B and B2C startups has increased by 50% in the past 5 years, which is hugely problematic because the price that those companies sell the products at is pretty stable, right? Your LTV, your lifetime value is pretty stable. And so if your CAC goes up, but your LTV is stable, you're going to hit a wall where basically you're going to operate at a loss, okay? If that trend continues, okay? So you can't just force your way just by increasing spend per user. And so the smart marketers, the CMOs, who have realized that trend, and that is a data from Gartner in late 2018, so just about 1 year old, are decreasing their spend across all categories but MarTech. They're moving their spend away from labor paid agencies towards MarTech, okay? So increasing in like software to try and differentiate and create a better experience, but in other means. And the problem that we all have as marketers is we too often think in averages, okay? I'm going to show you what that means. It means that when we do a CAC to LTV analysis, when we think of a cost of acquisition, we often think as like one number. It costs me $100 to acquire a user. It costs me maybe $300 to get a demo, right? And that misrepresents the fact that there's a very small portion of the people within that segment that are qualified, that are valuable, that will convert, and a huge number that will not. And so you're dividing, let's say, a whole bunch of unqualified people. You're using that as a whole bunch of people who have no value, and you're doing an average. And if you do a bit of statistics, you know that is like fundamentally wrong. That's just not how you should analyze it. You should try to like split away the qualified people from the unqualified people and look at the cost of acquisition of the qualified people who have a high chance of converting, right? So that huge variance of values per user, if you can do it, you can see that there are most people at zero, and the people who are above zero are immediately in a couple of $100 of value, right? And if you want to represent that graphically, you can imagine that each little dot on this graph here is a potential customer, right? And on the vertical axis, you have their value, right? So I'm representing here the future value on the blue line and the cost to acquire them, right? And the cost to acquire them, if you do like an average, is flat, right? It costs you're going to spend the same amount on each user. And some of them will convert, some of them won't. The problem is that you don't know which ones, right? And so you spend the same amount on everyone. If you could predict, however, you would then be able to place all those users on that blue line and know exactly how much they will, what the value is and how much they will bring to your business in terms of dollars. And you would then say, well, I'm going to have a high value experience, high cost but high value, which is what we call like ABM, and a low cost but low value, right, which is marketing automation. So you can lower your cost here and increase your cost there. And you're improving your margins, improving your profits, right? What's interesting if you start doing that is you wonder, like, why stop at 2 buckets? Like, if I can do that prediction, like, why not break it down in, like, as many buckets as possible? And if your competitors don't do it and they have a flat CAC, you can now improve your experience by trying to track, in terms of cost, the blue line as much as possible. So invest just the right amount that you maximize margin, you offer a better experience than your competitors, all right? If you think about it, like this fantastic triangle here that I drew out, this is better experience than your competitors. And the small one here, you're not making a bid. You're not trying to acquire those people because your forecast is that is a losing bid. You're going to lose money if you try to acquire those people, okay? So that's what you do. And I'm going to show you how we do that dynamically and how I've built that at multiple companies. Before I go there, what's interesting is that a couple of things. We're not spamming everyone. We are forecasting the future value of each account in our market, and we're spending just the right amount to convert them. The amount that we know maximizes our margin, right? And it's not a crazy idea. It's just a copy from what has been done in B2C. If you know a company called Criteo that does RTB, so real-time bidding, That's exactly what they do. If you have ever had an ad follow you on the internet because you did not buy something on an e-commerce website on Amazon because you did not complete the cart and go through the purchase, that cart has a value. You did not convert your behavior on the site and then on, let's say, the New York Times enables this real-time bidding company to make a forecast of how likely you are to come back and convert and purchase, right? And the cost of displaying the ad is their CAC, right? So we're just applying the same things, but for B2B. So how do we do that? Well, the first we've got to wonder, like, how could we create a better experience? What do we have in B2B? And the fun thing that I want to show you first is what is the perception from our buyers, right? And so I got this data from G2, internal data from G2, and that's on April 2019 data on 1,362 companies. So pretty solid data. And the question that we have for buyers, software buyers, is what is the most influential in your purchase decision? So interesting, like, of course, you have like your peers and industry experts. And at the bottom, you have salespeople. And so the fun thing is my wife is a sales rep, so I can use that to say, hey, like, people really don't trust you. That makes for great dinner conversations. The bad news is that vendor-supplied content is marketing, so I'm just above. I'm just leading by 2 meager points, which might not be statistically significant. And the conclusion is that buyers don't want to talk to us. Okay? They don't want to talk to our sales reps, and they don't want to read I'd say, our average quality marketing content. Okay? So if they don't want to talk to me, how can I improve their experience? Because I don't really influence like the rest. Right? And one quote we have, and that we then like send back to the people, and that 45% of the buyers approved, I say, yeah, I feel like that, is we usually engage a sales professional only when we have made a purchase decision. Which means, like, we have no value. Like, they already decided to buy. We're just like helping them enter the credit card. Right? So that's not great. Okay? So let me show you how I do a better experience, first starting with outbound emails. I'm starting there because that is the one thing that people hate the most and believe that there's the least value, right? This is the email that I built at Drift. And what's interesting here is that it is extremely dynamic, and those are just not injection tags, merge tags. Each of those highlighted in yellow thing is a specific customized words or sentence that is based on a prediction of what that person and what that account wants, needs, problems they have. And so I'm going to show you how we collect data to inject into those emails. We have like the persona-specific outcome, so we predict which outcome they have with the product. We have the relevant competitors and companies. We have what they created, the specific play, so the playbook. All of that, we have like all of those possibilities that we can inject in an email, and that we run through different predictions. And then we went to sales reps, and they said, yeah, that's good, but like we do better than just text-based emails. We do screenshots, and we do like customized screenshots for each customer to increase response rate. And it looks like that. And so our best humans do that. Like they take a screenshot of the page, they inject our product, so the Drift bot on top of it. They customize the bot with like the logo and whatnot, and they send it out, say, hey, this is what our product would look on your site. And so we thought about it, and we built the same. So we now have a script that automatically generates a custom image for each outbound email with their logo, with their message, and their screenshots behind. All of it is dynamically generated with the custom email. Now we have an email which looks very human-esque, right? And I have one to show you how much value we can bring. I'm going to give you one example, which is not in the slides. So a company I'm helping right now is called Gorgias. They do a help desk for Shopify stores, right? So a help desk tool for e-commerce merchants. And we thought, well, how can we help them without talking about the product? And so we built a scraper that scrapes UPS, FedEx, and USPS sites, right? And we're looking for service interruption, snowstorms, and anything that could hamper the good delivery of packages. We scrape that. We monitor where that happens geographically in the US. We have already mapped with XY coordinates all the Shopify stores in the US where the warehouses are. And we then send an email when we know that we'll have issues delivering packages, saying, hey, do you know that your packages are going to be delayed by 3, 4, 5 days? Your customers are going to ask, where's my order? Are you ready for the influx of tickets? And most of the time when we do that, they don't know that there's a snowstorm coming. Okay? So we inform them we're valuable. We don't even talk of a product. Right? We just then, that comes later. We just create trust and deliver value. That's one example. In chat, so I used to work at Drift. One thing that we do that is funny is we run a little prediction in real time. So when people come to our website, we're going to take the IP address. We're going to use Clearbit Reveal, which is an API company that enables us to go from the IP to the company name, the domain, to know who's on our website if they're a business visitor. And then we're going to run our forecasting algorithm, which is called MadKudu, a third-party company. And we're going to say, is this company likely to buy or not? Do they have the means? Do they have the technology? Do they have the headcount, the funding, whatnot? Real time. And if the prediction is high enough, we will power a chat. Okay? So we only show the chat for the people that have high predicted value. But my pitch was, how do I create a better experience? Let me show you a bot. This bot is here and asks you, how do you like your coffee? And it's a really weird question to ask on a B2B website. How do you like your coffee? Right? And most people see that and say, like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean? Like, what is this thing? So they click and they engage. As a marketer, I win. They have already engaged. And they say, well, I want tea. They say, okay, do you want sugar? Do you want milk? Whatnot, right? Because I know the domain, I know the HQ address. I just need to ask for the first name. And now I tell them, okay, we will deliver your hot drink in 20 minutes at your HQ address with your name on the cup, right? Looks like this. And what happens behind the scenes is that we have collected the data. We then send the data to Sentoso, which itself does an API call to Postmates. What's interesting here is that the CAC for this marketing strategy is about $18, right, to deliver a coffee in most cities in the US, right? Which could sound high. Now, is it memorable? Yeah. You're on a website, you get a free cappuccino. It is memorable, right? What do you think happens during those like 20 minutes? I have a sales rep that jumps into this chat and says, hey, while you're waiting for the coffee, do you want a demo? And it's really hard to say no, right? Because it's called reciprocity. And like, yeah, it's really hard to say no, which means I have a very high rate of demos with qualified companies based on my prediction at a cost of $18, which is my best CAC ever. So that is a moat. It's differentiated. It's hard to build. It is memorable. It's a better experience. That is based on my ability to invest more on specific users. If you go to web pages, most of the issues stem from the fact that our homepage is it's unique. It's trying to pitch a pretty large product, in this case of Segment, a very horizontal product, to a very wide audience that has different use cases. And so we run the prediction, and based on the prediction, we change the content of the website. I'm going to give you one example of a change that we make. For large companies, we hide the pricing page. We hide the sign-up button. We remove it completely. And we just say, call us now, right? Book a demo. Why do we do that? Well, because if you're Crate and Barrel or Nike, and you go to this B2B SaaS products homepage, what do you think you're going to think as a decision maker if you see a plan that starts at $99 a month? You're going to think, this is not for me. This is like an SMB product. Like I need to go to like an enterprise product, right? And so by modifying, and I'm not changing the pricing, I'm just hiding the access to the pricing and pushing them to a demo, right? So that they don't have a negative perception, and also so that I don't anchor the buyer mentally on a low pricing, which would hamper my sales team's efforts to sell an enterprise plan. Looker has done the same, and they have run hundreds of modifications, all of the logos here are dynamic and pulled from a list of logos based on the tech stack, based on the competitors. The entire content of the website is dynamic. All right? And it's what we called, it's a web content optimization with AI that has multiple weighted goals. And so each goal has a dollar value, whether it's signing up, whether it's doing a demo or registering for a webinar. Each of those has a dollar value. And so we have dollar value-based optimization. In the case of Looker, that drove 44% increases in SQLs, which is dramatic. And this is not A/B testing. We're not trying to find the best average. We're building, through an AI, a custom version of the homepage for each visitor based on a prediction. Okay? If you don't have that much traffic, and say, well, I have a small business with a small number of traffic, well, this company, Perkville, has less than 2,000 page views per day, and was still able to run 39 variations, okay, in parallel to optimize the page and drive a 42% lift, right, over 2 months, which is dramatic, okay? And so on average, being able to personalize your web content like that does about 6x of the performance versus A/B testing, the lift. So it's pretty cool. And the last thing I want to cover is paid. So I trashed paid in the beginning for having inventory issues and costs going up, which is true, right? And the challenge that we face is that paid, especially Facebook, just isn't made for B2B. Like, I've tried doing Facebook in B2B, like, for the past 6 years, and I failed probably, like, every year, all right? Getting, like, the right CAC to LTV. And the reason, so I thought about it, and I talked to friends who work at Facebook on the paid side. And the reasons are, to simplify, that Facebook has a very strong machine learning engine to find the right people for your business if you can send back conversion data to them. And so it works really well for e-commerce and for mobile games and for B2C because the conversion happens client-side in the browser, which means they can call the Facebook pixel with the information. And 2, they happen within the 7-day conversion window, which is the max length of the conversion window for Facebook. And B2B, my conversions happen in Salesforce, which is not client-side, and they happen definitely after 7 days, right? And so I can't call the Facebook pixel to say, hey, this person was a great person, and that person converted for like $2,000. I can't do that. And it's also just not in their focus. Like 80% of the revenue comes from like mobile, e-commerce, and B2C. So they just are not building tools for that. And so we thought, well, can we use a prediction engine that predicts the value of each visitor and kind of fake a conversion on the client? And if we have an ad, can we train Facebook based on our model of who is a good visitor before the conversion? And that was we have done. So I built this product with the guys at Matt Kudu. As soon as somebody fills a form, an email drops for them or whatever, we run the prediction engine. And at that moment, we call the Facebook e-commerce pixel saying there is a purchase for the amount of dollars that we forecast. So here we have $20, $200, whatever. And we are training the Facebook ML engine based on a forecast. It happens within a couple of minutes, right, after the visit. So the pixel is still valid. It happens client-side. And that's it. So what are the results? The results is compared to an optimization to a list upload, which is what we have here. So the list upload of like converters brings like 200% versus no optimization. And the e-commerce fake conversion brings 766% improvement. Which is great, is also kind of expected. Because now we're training Facebook on much, much better data and also much more granular data. If you do a list upload, like you have like a huge range of like ACVs that you're not giving to Facebook. You're not telling them like which ones are like the $500 ones, which ones are the $1,000 ones. So we can train that. And it also sees the negative. If you think of machine learning, it has to take a positive outcome and a negative outcome. And you don't train people who don't convert. I do, because I'm now registered as an e-commerce site. Facebook sees the people who are not buying, right? So, because I got a couple of minutes left, I want to show you how we use those predictions in our BI and reporting. Now that we run forecasts at each step of the funnel, we can have this kind of flow where if you think of your marketing steps, your funnel, instead of having leads, visitor, whatnot, we transform everything into dollars. And I say, I don't have 10,000 leads. I have a forecast of that much dollars. I have a pipeline, just like sales, right? And so I can talk in sales terms of how much pipeline I have on my website, how much pipeline I have on my sign-up. And I know the flow and the drop-off in my pipeline at each step in dollars, right? And it means when I look at my dashboard, we have built a marketing dashboard which only has dollars. There are no leads anymore, there's no signups, nothing. And then broken down by channel, we will have dollars, right? And so if you look at how this works here, this is how many dollars we have added to our stock this month. So we have, if you think of like in terms of e-commerce, we're adding money to our stock that we know will convert based on weighted averages. This is how much we have, if you look at how much we have added minus how much we have closed this month. This is how much we forecast to close this month, and this is how much we have effectively closed. Okay? So we now have a dashboard where the marketing team thinks in terms of dollars, which is way more efficient and also avoids vanity metrics. And so the common theme here is that if you have a lead and that your forecast for that lead is $50, right? And you look at multiple leads, right? And you're just looking at like 50, 50, 50, but the lead value when they close is $1,000, $200, and $10. Very obviously, you are overspending on this one. Let's call him Bob, right? Because the CAC is 50, but your revenue is 10. And here your CAC is 50, but your lead value is 1,000, right? And so you need to adjust that and actually spend maybe 300 on Jenny here and decrease this one to $3, okay, to optimize. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Leverage some of these tools?
Yeah. So do we need a lot of software infrastructure to deliver some of this? My belief is that you want to differentiate by having engineers solving distribution acquisition problems. One engineer is enough, right? Because that creates a differentiation capability that your competitors don't have. So that is how I operate, and that is how I built all of that. All of that is marketing problems and creativity solved with engineering talent and skills. The stack is not big, and yeah, you could just build parts of it, right? Cool. Yes.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Earlier you said it's not possible to acquire a customer for under $1 in the United States.
Mobile app installed, yeah.
Yep. This is more of an investor-related question. If I told you there is a company that is doing that and acquiring customers for under $0.25, what would you do?
I would invest.
Thank you.
Cool. Other questions? Awesome. Thank you very much.